Okay, hey guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So today I'm going to be doing some Atari live streaming, and I decided to do this one kind of like a request one, like I've done in the past, where I kind of just see what other people or people who kind of come into the chat, what they would like to see me play, and if nobody gives any suggestions, I'll just play what I want to play. So it's a win-win. So let's see, we got Richard Rounds here in the chat. How's it going, man? Hey. So I'm gonna start off. I'm just gonna pick a game. Let's just go with Gremlins, because I did a video on this game a while ago. It's kind of an interesting game, and I mean, I don't know how much it has to actually do with Gremlins, like the actual movie Gremlins, but they did a pretty good job making a game out of it. I mean, They went for more of the entertaining kind of game instead of let's just try and follow the movie. Kind of like what, well, I guess E.T. tried a little bit to be ambitious, but and this one they kind of copied a bunch of different games. So this one, oops, whoa, I hate using this joypad like this. So this is obviously copying Kaboom, or maybe even Crackpots or Spider Fighter. I mean, there's a bunch of games on the Atari that are just like this. This would be so much better with a paddle controller. I mean, it gets intense. It's just like Kaboom in a sense. So now we got more of like a, I guess you want to call this more of a Space Invaders style game. Richard's saying that he would like to track down a complete and box one. That'd be cool. I mean, I have the cartridge. I don't have the manual or the box or anything like that. I just have the original cartridge. I mean, I don't know. I guess there's a story to this, the whole Gremlins are jumping off the roof, but it just seems like they kind of... Well, I guess they're also going for those hamburgers down there. The graphics on this aren't bad. For an Atari game, like for Atari 2600, graphics are pretty decent. But there's only the 2 levels, so... And typical of Atari, you can only shoot once. So you gotta wait for your bullet to either make contact with something or leave the screen before you can shoot another one, which can be kind of annoying, but I mean, let's face it, if it wasn't like that, the game would be way too easy. Jeez, I'm missing a lot of them. I'm using a gamepad here. I'm doing this on my PC. I'm not doing this on an actual Atari, so I don't get the luxury of using an actual Atari joystick. Whoa! Yeah, I grabbed this in a lot, like the one I have, the actual cartridge I have. It was a lot of games, so it was like, like, I can't remember how many, like 10 or something games I got it with. I really just wanted this, but there was like 2 or 3 other titles that I also wanted in that lot, and then the rest were all just duplicates. And it happens to a lot of Atari collectors. You go on eBay, you see someone selling like 20 games. You probably only need like 3 of them or 4 of them, and the rest are all just going to become duplicates. But it's sometimes you get lucky, and it's cheaper to buy the lot than it is to actually source out the individual games that you really want. So, whoa, this is getting hard. As you can see, this game doesn't change up very much. Level 8. Oh, I'm not doing good at all. It's crazy. Pawez, what's up? If I said that right. Pawez, P-A-W-Z. What's going on there? Let's give this one more go. This game is it's fun, but it's a little tedious, especially when you get up to these higher levels. I think this is like, this gets harder than Kaboom's almost. Not being able to shoot more than one bullet is what makes that hard. The fact that you just like... Oh, jeez. Okay, this is... yeah, this isn't going very far. Asteroids. Oh, God. I am not good at asteroids, but I can give it a shot again. I'm not catching any of them. I think you're supposed to catch them before they eat, because in the movie or something, like if they eat after a certain point, what is it? I can't remember Gremlins. You know, it was so long ago since I've actually seen the movie. I know it had something to do with don't feed them after dark or something, and then don't get them wet, I think was the other thing. This is them coming out in their, like, evil form. Whoa. Play on the teddy bear level of Asteroids. Makes life easier. Something I always, you know, neglect to do when I play on my Atari is to think about what switch the A-B switch is in. I just often just put the cartridge in and start playing. I don't even think about the switches for whatever reason. I know I've done a few videos like that where people have left comments saying, you know, you're playing on the expert mode or something, and I'm like, oh, you know, even Kaboom. Like when you play on the expert mode of Kaboom, it's like the bucket is really small. You can play on the easier mode and the bucket's bigger, and your chances of catching the bombs are a lot better. This is... Which again, this is a problem with this game too, because your character is really small. So it's really easy for you to miss them. Oops. You gotta be precise, because if you move and you don't get it, just like that, you kinda lose. Oh, jeez, I'm not catching any of them. Whoa. Just bounces you out of the screen. Alright, let's give the asteroids a try. Asteroids. 1981. I think I have several copies of this game. I think most, I don't want to set it to that. How many friggin' settings are in this game? 40, 50, what the? It's a lot. Ugh. Rather just restart it there. Game variation 33 is the one-player children's or Willy mode, as Willy would say. Willy mode, yeah. Good old Willy. Alright, let's just do this. Find that once I start moving, that's when I run into problems. Yeah, I know Willy from Arcade USA really loves Asteroids. Playing on those little mini arcades and stuff. Even when I was playing the PlayStation version of this. I think I've always just preferred Astro Smash from the Intellivision. Or, well, I guess Astro Blast on the Atari, which I didn't really know existed for the longest time. I always played Astro Smash on the Intellivision. But, I mean, that one, you're level on the ground. You're not floating like this. I don't know if it's better to be floating around or if it's better to try and just stay in one position. At least you get multiple firing on this one. Asteroids mini arcade is bad. It's a non-arcade room. Yeah, I saw that. It's like a it's that non-backlit screen. I found with those mini arcades, they either go really simple and give those like really basic LCD looking screens, like the old school handheld game look, or they put in like an emulator and then they play like a Nintendo ROM or something. And most of the time those things just end up just looking like, you know, they end up just looking cool. Look like something you'd put on your shelf. I see them all the time. I've never picked one of them up yet. I mean, they're really expensive here in Canada where I live. They're not cheap. They're like usually around $20-something, $25 plus tax. So like you'd be in like almost $30 just to get one. And I'm like, and they come in those blister packages, and a lot of them just look really cheap to me. I don't know. It's too much money to invest in something I know for a fact would just sit on my shelf and I would probably never play it. I mean, I got into the handheld games way back in the early days when every store you went into, like a Kmart, Walmart, wherever, they had tons and tons of handheld games, and I got into it then. Buying those like Tiger Electronic games, and even Radio Shack, when we used to have Radio Shacks. They always had like tons of those handheld games, and I'd go in there and play them, and I started buying them and collecting them. But I mean, today they would just be something I would just shove on a shelf. Hey, Grumpy Driver, what's going on, man? Thanks for popping in. Just doing some Atari by requests, so if you want to see a game, throw it out there. This is Atari 2600, keep in mind. Not 78 or 52. Or 8-bit. Whoa. Yeah, I think even in the flashback, I don't even think they give you the proper version of Asteroids either. This is actually not a bad version of it. Not a bad game at all. I mean, it's nice and colorful, gets the job done, the physics are great. Playing this on like one of the older computers, or the arcade where it was more like black and white, vector style graphics. Whoa. I think the other thing I like Astro Smash better is the the changing of the screens. And there's just more to it. There's more stuff falling. 25 bucks here in New York. It's 15 bucks. It's still not worth. Yeah, I mean that. Like I keep hearing all these different costs for these mini arcades. You even have those really mini ones, like the ones that are like almost keychain size. The really mini arcade things, and even those are like $25. Like no way. It's literally just a novelty. I mean, you wouldn't carry it around with you. You can't put it in your pocket. You're just gonna put it on your desk or in your man cave somewhere or whatever. You're just gonna put it down somewhere and just look at it. And to spend that kind of money for that, I mean, you must really want it. Like you really want the game, or you know, maybe it's your favorite game or something like that. Like I see, like there's Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man and Tetris and Cubert. I mean, I almost bought the Cubert one because I thought it looked cool. I was really considering the Cubert one. And it plays a lot like the original Coleco tabletop, which is cool. Frogger's not bad, but I do have a handheld Frogger game, so it's one of the Radio Shack ones I bought. Yeah, these tiny ones actually have arcade ROMs. I heard that. I heard there's a way to actually unlock all the games on one of them. Like if you buy one, you can actually tamper with it, and it unlocks all the games on it or something. Like almost as if they're all programmed to be able to play every single game, but they just restrict certain games. I don't know. Because it's an emulator. It could probably play like every single arcade game out there. But they just put it on a certain one or two and market it that way. Just like the flashbacks, you know, the flashbacks on the Atari, they could play every single Atari game, but they only put like 30 on there or something. The NES Classics too. They're bound to breaking. Huh. Hey, Green Lantern HG. Dang it, late again. Ah, you're not that late. I just started. Have you ever played Journey Escape? I just beat it recently. Nobody seems to like it, but I thought it was cool. I don't know, Justin Hoover there. I don't know. I think I might have. Journey Escape. I think somebody might have recommended that one last time I played. Journey Escape. Frogger was my go-to game when I was home from school. Frogger's always great, no matter what system you play it on. I don't know. This I don't recognize this. I might not. Oh wait. Maybe I have played this before. Am I just supposed to avoid these things or something? What is going on? This is very psychedelic. Am I supposed to be grabbing stuff? I don't know. Pretty funky background there. Especially when a lot of Atari games are very bland looking. I don't know what happens if I touch these things. Oh, I can run too. This is creepy. What just happened there? The music is creepy. Yeah, this is weird. So I can't touch those things. It looks like you're in space. So is this guy like a spaceman or something? Like, what is going on? There's some aliens. There's some weird heart-looking dudes. What are those? Stoplights? That platform thing. What is that? It's like a big head. Was this one of those games where the programmer was like really stoned when he made them? Or... I mean, I know the Atari guys were doing a lot of drugs and drinking back then when they were working for Atari. Although I think this said this was Data East, so... This is a weird game. So, Galaxian. Okay, so there is a point to it. I was wondering about that. Galaxian's not bad. It's kind of like a, well, it's like an improved version of Space Invaders. Got a little bit more going on. It's into the Galaga series. Could be wrong. It's like a bunch of these shooter games, like Space Invaders style games. Like Gorf. Oh! The music was based off an actual band. Oh, okay, yeah, I think I remember hearing that from, yeah, from Journey. The band Journey, right? The music was based off the band Journey, and that's why it's called Journey Escape or something. Does make sense. You know, back then when they were really trying to figure out how they could license games and sell games under certain, you know, there's a lot of experimenting going on back in the 80s with video games and the potential of marketing, and you know, obviously it led up to today's games where it's all about money and making money, advertising, and you know, the video game industry is now like pretty much bigger. I think it might even be bigger than the movie industry. There's so much money to be made in video games. Back in the 80s, they were just trying to, like, you know, just starting to experiment with that. Thinking, hey, we can put movie titles in there. Galaxian was such an underrated gem for the 70s. Well, I think what happened is, like, you know, games like Space Invaders come out, and then it sets the stage for a lot of these type of shooter games to just come out and be, you know, one step better. It's like, you like Space Invaders, you'll love this game. There's more going on. Whoa. Definitely a lot more being shot at you. I think I can also just hold down the button. Yeah. You almost get like an auto fire if you just hold the button down. Just keep firing. Just look out for the bullets. Just like that. It's missing the shields though. Space Invaders has those shields. You don't have that, I guess, in this game. It's crazy how they go at the bottom of the screen and reappear at the top of the screen. Like, it would be nice if this had like a, you know, at least one or two other levels, kind of like Gorf. Gorf has like 4 levels, 4 different stages. Change things up a bit. Hey, video game dust sleeves. Just wanted to stop in and say hi. Give a like. Cool, man. Thanks, man. Throw a suggestion out there if you want to. Just playing some good old classic Atari 2600. Whoa, whoa. Yeah, video game dust sleeves. If you're not familiar with that, check them out. He actually creates custom dust sleeves for Nintendo, Sega, Atari, and so if you're looking for a way to make your collection look cool, you don't want to just have like the naked cartridges. If you don't have the boxes, he makes great dust sleeves and he makes them custom. I know Linda AK Gamer Girl swears by them. A lot of people actually do. Let's see, what else can we play today? Let's look for something fun. I know Frogger was thrown in there, so maybe we can do some Frogger. Everybody likes Frogger. Hey, no problem, Dust Sleeves. I think your product's great. I mean, I've seen a lot of videos and just looking at their game shelves, and it looks amazing. To see, like, you know, and the best part is it organizes things, so you can actually see them. A lot of cartridges you can't, like, they don't have the end labels and all that stuff, or the end labels look like crap. Oh, Green Lantern actually won one of those from Linda. I think I remember seeing that, the video for that. Let's get my frog on. Maze Craze. Maze Craze is interesting too. I think this is actually a decent version of Frogger. I mean, for what it is. Whoa. And yet, when you get the Atari flashback system, it doesn't come with this one. It comes with some more like an arcade style. Even though this is a pretty decent version. I'm not sure what the reasoning behind that was. Like, is it because it's Parker Brothers, or what? I don't know. Pretty sure my first real experience with Frogger was on the Intellivision. I used to borrow it from neighbors down the street. And I think I eventually got it on like the Commodore 64. I didn't have it on my Atari for a long time. Like when I first got my Atari, pretty sure I didn't have Frogger right away. When I first got my Atari, I didn't have a lot of games for it. That was back in like '89, I think, when the Atari Junior came out. So I only had like a couple of games. The Supercharger version of Frogger is a little better than... Yeah, definitely. Supercharger's interesting. It's pretty much like a tape recorder that you put like a audio cassette recorder. You put the games on audio cassettes, and it can hold more memory or more space or something than a cartridge could, or something to do with that. It was just a cartridge module that you plugged into a regular tape recorder, and then you'd put the tape in the tape recorder, put the module, like a cartridge itself, into the Atari, and then it allowed you to play much more sophisticated Atari games back in the day. Sad Asim, how's it going? Can't stay long, just dropping by to hit the like button. Hey, no problem, man. Thanks for stopping by. Feel free to throw a suggestion out there, too. I think tapes were just way cheaper. Well, that's another reason, too. But I think they were able to actually hold more information than the standard, you know, they were probably cheaper, and because, you know, cartridges could hold more information if they were the better cartridges. The you know, oh, I can't remember what it was. It was beyond 4K. A lot of the old cartridges were like 4K, and that was about it. believe tapes were pretty popular with home computers in Europe as well. Yeah, well, actually back here in North America is sort of the same thing. The VIC-20, the Commodore 64, the Commodore PET, the Coleco Atom. A lot of them had tape drives that you could put audio-like tapes in them. I never had a tape player for my Commodore 64. I always had the disk drive, so... But I remember in school, we had like a PET computer, and it had the tape drive, and I think even the Commodore 64 eventually, when we had one in the school, had a tape drive too. I also had friends down this, like on my street, who had a VIC-20, and they had the tape drive. And I know I had a few games that were purchased that actually came with both the disc and the tape, but I just never had the tape drive. Yeah, cartridges stored the data in chips, which were comparatively more expensive than cheaper mass-produced tapes. Yeah, and it's 6K more memory. Yeah, I was thinking of almost doing a VIC-20 thing, playing VIC-20 games, because that system's kind of fun. I do have a real VIC-20, but it's not working right now. The power, you turn it on, it doesn't get any power, so I don't know where the issue is. I don't know if it's a bad chip, if it's just like the power light comes on. So I guess it is getting power, but I think something went bad and it's kaput. It's a shame because I have all these cartridges, so I don't know. I'm debating on if I should try and track down another VIC-20 or just forget about it. I doubt I'll be able to get it fixed. It's probably like a bad memory chip or something. Or CPU chip. Or the heck did I just die on? No! I didn't pay a whole lot for my VIC-20 in the first place. I bought it at a thrift shop probably about 20 years ago, so... I was surprised when I bought it that it actually worked. Probably paid like $5 for it. 5 or $10. Back when you used to find a lot of that stuff in thrift shops. Nowadays, when they see stuff like that come in, they treat it like gold. They put it in a display case or an auction case. They want $1 million for it. It just doesn't happen anymore. You just don't find those. Well, some people do, but a lot of these old stuff, they want to try and make as much money off of it as possible, which really sucks. But ever since retro gaming sort of became a popular thing, and now businesses are trying to always capitalize off of it. Really, it's just us old guys trying to play our favorite games. I had only Buck Rogers on tape for my Atom ColecoVision. Yeah, my friend had an Atom, and his name actually was Atom too, which was funny. I don't know if he had any tape games. I don't remember him having a tape game. We used to just play regular ColecoVision games on it, like Donkey Kong Jr. He would just borrow them from his friend. I think he had like maybe 1 or 2 games of his own, just regular ColecoVision games, and then he used the computer part for like his projects in school or something like that, like the word processor. I don't know what else he used the computer for. Wasn't much. As for a request, there's my first gaming session, River Raid. That game I remember for my mind-blowing 3D pole position. River Raid's cool. Let's do some River Raid. I love River Raid. I used to play River Raid on my Commodore 64 all the time. Raft Rider. Ooh, I was just talking about Raft Rider with the No Swear Gamer. River Raid. This is a great game. Even just the graphics on it, the gameplay, everything about this game is amazing. But yeah, I played this a lot on my Commodore 64. I didn't even know it was an Atari game at the time. Actually, that was pretty common with a lot of the games I played. I didn't realize they were actually on Atari. Of course, when you're playing on the Commodore 64, the graphics are different, you know. This is these a little bit more simplified graphics, but I mean, for what it is, it still looks pretty cool. I have Solaris. I think so. I think I have Solaris. Oh, jeez. Still don't understand why, if you're supposed to be an airplane, that you can actually, like, hit the things on the ground like that. Unless they're supposed to be mountains or something. Shouldn't you be flying over top of everything? Yeah, I'm not really going that fast. Whoa! Dang it, gotta go, Brian. Heading home. Bye, everybody. Alright, take care, Green Lantern. At least you got to stop by for a little bit. Always nice having you around. I remember I used to play this game using the, I don't know what it's called. I might still have one kicking around in the basement. It was like a joystick, and it had these like grips where your fingers go, almost like a I don't know what you'd say, like a airplane kind of throttle thing. It had the grips on there where you put your fingers, the finger grips, and it had a button on the top so you can like do this. So like you're actually like in one of those airplane fighter jets, and it had suction cups on the bottom. So I could like suction cup the joystick to the table, and I could actually like play these like River Raid and other like airplane games like that. That was always my favorite controller to jump to. Otherwise, I was constantly using like the Atari joystick, or you know, whatever other weird joysticks I had at the time. Video Game Lover 58, how's it going? Just stopping by. That's cool, man. That's cool. Feel free to suggest a game if you want. Just playing random Atari games. Just for fun. This is just exactly how I always played Atari. You know, you put in a game, you play for a little bit, get bored, take it out, put in another one. You'd have your little collection. I think a lot of people were like that back then, right? That was typically how we played games back then. You have your little stash of video games sitting on the side there. You play until you get bored. Not doing too good at this one. See if I can get a little further. Playing kind of like my buddy the Atari Creeper, where he takes it nice and slow. Don't want to take any chances. Oh jeez. Sometimes I try to speed up a little bit, but man, I don't think I could use the old school Atari anymore. Well, I know a lot of people do also like to put in the Sega Genesis controllers in their Ataris. I don't know. I'm one of the few that really enjoy using the old school these guys, the old school Atari Joystick. I love these things. I've even considered, you know, like buying one of those connector things so I can actually plug it into a PC, into the PC and use that one. I know they make ones with USB sticks as well, but I doubt they're as good as a real classic Atari controller. As far as the tightness and all that. Real Atari controllers are just amazing. With games like Hero, where it relies on the stiffness of the stick. Trying to memorize the enemy patterns and level layouts. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You play this game, and once you start to memorize the patterns, if you play it enough, you can like fly through it. It's just like Hero. Once you memorize the patterns of the game, where everything is, you can almost fly through it after playing it enough times. Because like a lot of this, like these things aren't random. Like they're already set in place, so you just got to remember it. Keep shooting the fuel things. I like in like I think the Commodore 64 and the ColecoVision version have the tanks that show up on the highway areas or the bridge. Oh jeez. Keep speeding up at that one spot where I need to slow down because I'm going to run into the bridge. They put that boat right in front of the bridge too. Right there, that boat there. So you can't rush into it because you won't have time to shoot the boat without running into it. Yeah. Back in the day, I memorized the pattern to get about 12,000 points. Oh geez, I'm only at what, 4,500? Jay Rushing, what's going on, man? Nice to see you here. Playing some old school 2600 Atari. Feel free to throw some suggestions of what games you'd like to see. Keep shooting the fuel gauges. Not good. Okay, there. I mean, shooting the fuel, you get points, but... There we are. Chopper command. That's a good one. Let's see where I can get you. Oops. Yeah, slow down. Going too fast. Trying not to fly into stuff. River Raid 2 is not a bad game either. I remember getting it as a gift from one of my birthday from my friend, and I mean I didn't even know what it was at the time. I was like, I didn't even know there was a River Raid 2. I mean, it's not as complex as this though. I mean, it's a lot more open space and less obstacles. And the way the fuel is done is kind of weird. I believe in River Raid 2 you have to fly over the fuel at a certain altitude or else nothing happens. Whoops. That sucked. Yeah, they put in like an altitude meter, so it's like based on how high up or how low you're flying. Whereas in this game, it's just the one altitude. Which makes you wonder how you're shooting helicopters and boats at the same time. Are you in the air or are you on the ground? Are they low-flying helicopters? Not to mention the fact that you can't touch the ground area or you blow up. See where I'm... Oh no! Jeez. That thing just came flying right at me. I didn't have a chance to move. Okay. It's like at that stage where I have to sort of slow down because... Ah, I saw that coming. Games are River Raid. Yeah, exactly. If you're in the air, why does the sides kill you? Why does half the stuff kill you if you're in the air? Let's do the chopper command. Chopper command's interesting. It's kind of like oh, see you later, sad. Oh, gotta run. Good night. Yeah, this is kind of like Defender and a bunch of other games. Whoa. Lots of stuff coming at you. I like how they give you the little map down there too. I think you're supposed to save the little trucks down there. Yeah, it's kind of like a Defender clone in a way. Like they took the same concept of Defender and kind of changed it up a bit, put it out in more of the desert setting. You're a helicopter. Ah, you're terrible at it. You ever played Megaforce? I don't know. I don't think so. It doesn't sound familiar. Should give it a shot. Another game that's like this is Empire Strikes Back. Good old Star Wars classic on the Atari 2600. Also made it onto the Intellivision. Only you're fighting the AT-ATs instead of other planes. Oops. Actually, even sort of, I guess, He-Man too. He-Man is like this. But you know, much like how Space Invaders had a ton of clones, I guess Defender also had its clones. What am I coming towards? So I can keep shooting. Jeez. Damn. Bullets everywhere. It goes really fast. So by the time you see something, you're practically running right into it. Challenge with this game is that once you see the target, if you miss it, you pretty much fly into it. And they're really small. The targets are small. Like that airplane guy, it's hard to hit him. Yeah, the graphics are amazing in this game. That's what really makes it look cool. But it's Activision. Activision did seem to make a lot of the better looking games. This one's a little bit more challenging. Yeah, because you see some games where they literally just like do very minimal graphics, like black background, and they just kind of get to the point. And then you see games like this where it's really colorful, lots going on, lots of scenery. There we go. The bullets in this is kind of weird too. The fact that it's like almost like a laser beam. Like it's not like a dot or missiles or anything. It just looks like it's a laser beam shooting across the screen. Good thing is you can like literally just hold down the fire button and rapidly shoot like that. Just gotta watch where you're going. Jeez. Just gonna keep firing. I tend to be looking down at the map below, but then it's like once you reach that point where everything's on the screen, you gotta kind of pay attention to the screen and stop looking down below. See what else is there. Make it forward. Let's try Mega Force. Where is it? Do I have it? Mega Force. Oh, it's a 20th century game. Okay. I think I've seen this. I saw someone just playing this. Maybe it was a no swear gamer or something. It's kind of like Chopper Command in a way that you got that desert setting, you gotta shoot the things that are coming towards you. Thing up top. Oh yeah, I can fly too. It's pretty crazy. There's like a lot going on in this game. Mega flicker. Yeah. There's a lot of flickering going on. It's kind of challenging, I mean. Don't blow up your own buildings. Well, that's a good tip. How do I know what's mine, though? This is based on a movie. Probably. Most of the 20th century games were based on movies. Like Alien and... what was the other one? Flash Gordon, I think. It's also 20th Century Fox. What was the other one? The Arabian ones are what you're protecting. Oops! I've been blowing those up. Oops. Okay, try not to blow those up. what's the other, Krull. I think Krull is also a 20th Century Fox game. I think. I know that was based on a movie. I mean, there was quite a few Atari games. Like the very first game when I started streaming today, when I played Gremlins, you know, based on the Gremlins franchise. And of course, there's the E.T. game, which was, you know, Howard Scott Warshaw who made that one. Raiders of the Lost Ark, same idea. What's that arrow? Do I have to go that way? I have to blow them up. Krull is Atari. Okay. Good movie in my opinion. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Krull. One of those movies that just kind of never got on my radar, I guess. Am I supposed to be going this way or something? Like, just keep saying defend. I don't know what those arrows are. It's like one of these games where I think I'm gonna have to like look it up. Oh yeah, Porkies. That was the other one. Yeah, I did a video on Porkies before. Watch me suck at this game on Porkies. It was kind of fun. Almost seems like it should have been one of those, you know, porn games that came out for the Atari. Like Beat 'em and Eat 'em and what were the other ones? The other games that were like porn based. That they only sold them behind the counters and you had to be an adult to buy them. Because they were all like... I forgot what was the other game. It was Beat 'em and Eat 'em, but there was another one. A popular porn game. There was like a bunch of them actually. You don't see anything. Custer's Revenge, that's right. That's the other one. That one's pretty actually bad because you're pretty much raping a Native American. Like how could they put that in a video game? I mean that would never fly today. That would just be really bad. Play some pinball. I played this one a lot when I first got my Atari. This and Keystone Capers were the two games I got with my Atari. And I played the heck out of them. Whoa. Oh, jeez. Trying to read the chat, but unfortunately the window of the game is covering half of it, so I'm seeing half of the chat right now. It's the problem with the Stella emulator is it's once you start the game you can't move the window, you can't readjust it or anything. It's kind of stationary. I don't know if that's a setting or something. But yeah, I got no access to my mouse. I can't move the window around. And so my chat sometimes gets buried. Or half of it anyways. I can read kind of what people are saying. Whoops. I mean, I love this one. Not as much as I love the Intellivision pinball game. But, you know, when I bought this, I did play it quite a bit. I still do. Get into a, you know, I want to play this game a lot kind of thing. You have to try and get all those little things at the top there. All the little tabs. The colored tabs. And once you get them all, the machine changes color. I mean, that's about it. There's not a whole lot of other things to do in this game. A little bit more of a step up from the video pinball game that came out, which I think I just saw someone mention in the comments there, or in the chat. You know, the classic video pinball, which was, you know, I guess the first one to come out. And I believe there was a third pinball game for the Atari, but the third one, it was quite rare. Like, it's actually hard to get your hands on today, and it's expensive. Don't know the name of it right now off the top of my head, but yeah, I remember when I did a video talking about video game pinballs, and I played on the Atari, and I played this one, and I played the video pinball, and people were mentioning it then. But it's one of those games that came out late, and it was kind of rare title, so to find one, it's not cheap. Bumper Bash, that's the one. I mean, I don't think it's really like the greatest pinball game. I think it was just came out at a bad time, and much like a lot of games back then, you know, when they started coming out closer to the end of the Atari life cycle, not too many of them were made. So then, when the Atari 2600 was done, they stopped making games for it. All the last games that they made were pretty much, at that point, rare. I mean, that happens, I think, on all systems, right? Like Nintendo. There's Nintendo games that came out just around the time of the Nintendo's, you know, the end of the Nintendo life cycle, and television was the same, I'm sure. You know, the last few games created for the system, official games anyways, like officially made for the system, not the homebrews. And then those games usually become more sought after because they didn't make so many of them, and during the day people wouldn't have bought them. They would have sat on the store shelves at discount prices. I used to see them all the time in like Toys R Us. I remember in the mid-90s I used to still see the Intellivision games and all that on, like I remember seeing Commando and stuff like that, and I was like, oh cool, they have a Commando game on the Intellivision. And at the time I didn't have my Intellivision anymore, so I didn't buy it, because I'm like, what am I going to do with it? Now to find a complete in-box Intellivision Commando game, you're going to be paying a lot of money. Unlike, say, Astro Smash or Utopia or Burger Time, you could probably find them all over the place. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, you know. They made so many of them. Although I was on eBay the other day and I saw somebody was selling a loose cartridge of Commando on the Intellivision for like 30 bucks. 30-something dollars plus shipping. I didn't even check to see if that was even a good price or not. I mean, that's quite a bit for a loose game for an Intellivision. But I mean, they did a pretty good job on the Intellivision version of Commando, though. Way better than the Atari version. 2600 version is the whoops, 7800 version, really good, but also expensive. Not doing too good. Haven't passed the first board yet. Ah. Am I doing two-player here? Ooh, crud. Game over. Let's see what's people saying there in the chat. I couldn't see because of the stupid window. Try Space Jockey. Yeah. But I like pinball. Oh, so GameStar likes video pinball better. It's interesting that you like that one better. And I play with the paddles. Oh, Bumper Bash. Yeah, so Bumper Bash, I guess, lets you play with the paddle. GameStar has Commando Complete in Box. You lucky son of a... 7 games away from the collection. Whoa. That's some serious collecting you got going on there. Just for fun, let's just throw that one in there since we're talking about it, the video pinball, just so we can have a kind of side-by-side comparison. I mean, so right off the bat, you can see this one's a lot more simple. Not a lot going on there. It's cool it has the Atari symbol in there. Let's just do this. I found that every time I was playing this, though, like, there'd be times where I would never have to touch the flipper. Like, the ball would just be, like, going up and have a mind of its own and just kind of wandering around there. And I'd just be sitting here watching the ball. Like, you'd never see the frickin' ball come near the flipper. Like, right now, I haven't even touched the flippers. I haven't had to. So the game kind of just has its own, like, you know, mind of its own. I think it's just the way it's spread out. It's more, you know, lengthwise than widthwise. So there's a lot more space for the ball to just fly over there, do its own thing. And, you know, I mean, I didn't do anything there. There was nothing I could do. Yeah, the physics are crazy. Yeah, that's the thing. But maybe if they had an extra pair of flippers on the sides, you know, like right where the ball is in the middle there, they had some flippers. But otherwise, I mean, you just find that you just sit here for a while waiting for the ball to come down so you can actually do something with your little square ball. Uh-oh. And you can hold down the button and move the stick. Move the stick to move the ball. If you do too much, you tilt. Oh. Yeah, then you can tilt. NBSOXS44. Hey, Brian. What's going on, man? Playing some Atari. You like the old school Atari? Let's try that. Hold down the button, move the stick. Did I just tilt? I don't know. What just happened there? Let's try that again. I think I just... I don't know. It's kind of weird. Whoa. Oh, I can see, yeah, when I do that, the ball kind of does a kind of crazy thing. Yeah, so you're tilting too much. I think I was expecting the whole screen to tilt. You can just bump it occasionally. Yeah, just as long as you're not doing it too often or else it tilts you. That's kind of weird. It's like bowling on the Atari where you can actually control the ball. You can actually make the ball go in the direction you want it to go in. 2600 activation complete, yeah. Let's get out of that. Make so much of that I can handle there. I think somebody was saying, what was the other game that somebody wanted to see? Just gonna go through the chat here. Space Jockey. That was it. Let's try some Space Jockey. I think I might have actually played this one. Pretty sure I have this cartridge as well. Space Jockey. Yeah, US game. Yeah, I do have this one. I think this was made by the same people who made Lost Luggage. See what's going on in this one again. Oh. One of these kind of games. Ah, side-scrolling shoot-'em-ups. Yes. I guess I'm hitting like hot air balloons. It's 3 Space Jockeys complete in box. I guess this was the one that they made on mass produced. What was the other games they made? Didn't they also make Sneak and Peek? I think this is the same company that made Sneak and Peek. Vanguard, yeah. This is like a almost like a very basic version of Defender. Ah. Oh yes, they made Word Zapper as well. That was the other one. It's another game I was been meaning to explore on my channel, is Word Zapper. Kind of an interesting title. It just seems like you always just have to face these 3 things. Not a lot goes on. Just the 3 things come in, you just gotta shoot them. Yeah, because I think the company that made these games, they were gearing them more towards children, I think. Which is why you got games like Sneak and Peek and Word Zapper, and, you know, something like this. I think this was geared more towards the little kids. So they tried to keep them as simple as possible. Nothing complex about it. Not much more you do in this game than this. Just shooting these things. Oh, I don't think I was supposed to shoot that. That's a house. Whoa. In this one, you're the bad guy. Well, that makes sense, I guess. Maybe you are supposed to shoot the house. And the tank. I guess you're like an alien invading. You just want to blow everything up. It's all about the points. One big target practice. Again, this is another one of those 1 bullet only. You're not going to shoot again until your bullet leaves the screen or hits the target. Kind of drives you nuts. But that's part of the strategy, I guess, you know. Because if you did have some kind of crazy rapid fire in this game, it would be way too easy. Alright, take care, Games R. Games R is another awesome person to check out. They sell a lot of crafts and stuff with video game themes on them. And they go to a lot of gaming shows. Whoa. Okay, this is just getting redundant. Let's play something more fun. Much more funner than that. Skiing. I don't need to play skiing. It's cold enough outside. Where I am, we're going to get a snowstorm tomorrow, so I don't even know what's going on. I might not even go to work tomorrow. Because it's going to be cold and raining and snowing and ice rain, and I mean, it's just going to be crazy. Who remembers Private Eye? Could never get the hang of this game, but you're supposed to find these things and take them to the police station or something like that. I don't know. I've tried to figure this game out. You have to memorize where everything is. It's a crazy game. It's just weird how you jump out of your car like that to pick things up. I think you gotta take the money back to the bank, you gotta take the gun back to the police station. You gotta do like all these things in like under 3 minutes. By remembering where everything is. Yeah, I gotta read the manual. Oh, can't go that way. Yeah, this game was sold with a map and all that stuff too of where everything was. Like you can get it online, you can look it up online and stuff. I've never been good at this game. Whoops. Okay, can't go that way. Yeah, it's not a pick up and play kind of game. Exactly. Oh yeah, here's the gun place. So you gotta find the gun and bring it there. Nope. Find out I'm obviously just run around in circles. Like I passed the police station like how many times now? I haven't found a damn thing. Although I'm sure if I had this as a kid, I probably would have played it a lot. Ouch. Beanie Bopper. It's another one of those games I got in my collection. I don't think I really sat down and played it. Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on, but I got like 30 seconds. Which I doubt I'm gonna get anywhere. Oh, here's the bank. So if you got a good memory and you can remember where all this stuff is, you're good. Because once you find all the stuff like the bag of money and all that, then you have to go back and find the bank and everything. And oh, I found the gun. I think I have to take that to that gun place. Whatever the heck that was. And it's over. A crazy game. It's kind of okay, yeah. I mean, it's different for an Atari game. Beanie Bopper. Oh, another 20th Century Fox. What is going on? Yeah, this is a game I need to actually sit down and figure out what's going on and explore it. Miss Pac-Man. Yeah, a really good game for the Atari 2600. Made up for the really bad Pac-Man we got in its place, or originally I should say. The first Pac-Man game for the Atari was terrible. Although some people do like it. I mean, I didn't mind it when I was younger, and I was playing it on my friend's Atari, and it was the only Pac-Man I had at the time. And I remember buying it at Zayre's, thinking it would be kind of like box art, but no. I bet you that happened a lot. People bought games based on the box art. Went, hey, that looks awesome. Then they get home and they start playing it, and they're like, wow, this is terrible. Especially if they didn't show what the game looked like on the back, or they didn't really give a proper kind of overview of the game on the back of the box. Then you're like, you think it's just going to be awesome because of the cool artwork. Aaron F, hey, what's happening there? I mean, this is what's cool about that book, The Art of Atari. If you're an Atari fan, you probably should be looking into that book if you don't have it already. The Art of Atari, really cool book. It was created by Tim Lapatino, real cool guy. I'm friends with him on Facebook. He's a really nice guy. I've been talking to him for a while now. And we've been trying to find a time to actually do a live chat. So I want to have him on the show and talk to him about the book, The Art of Atari, and about his favorite games and all that kind of stuff. He's a busy man though, so, you know, I understand. It was only $5. All the games dropped down to about $5 in 83, 85. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean that's around the crash, right? 83 was 80. Well, I guess 83 was the crash. End of 82, 83, the North American crash. The crash didn't happen anywhere else around the world. It was mostly North America, but then all these games just kind of went dirt cheap. And then anything that kind of came out during the crash probably got dumped right away, and you know, there's probably some of them that are now valuable because of that. I think even this game, you don't typically find it for really cheap. I don't even understand what's going on. I'm like this shooting eyeball thing or something, killing these crazy helicopter Jube guys. Yeah, man, you could rack up then. Yeah. See, when I started buying Atari games was when it came back in '89 with the Atari Junior. And there wasn't a whole lot of selection anymore because a lot of the original ones were already gone off the shelf. Nintendo was the big thing. So when Atari made its comeback in '89 with the Junior, when they started selling the games again, there wasn't a whole lot to choose from. The good thing is most of the ones that they were selling at the time were actually the good games. So if you bought anything, you were pretty much getting a pretty good game. Blew my mind because they were all $30, $50 back. Yeah, well, I mean, the same thing happened with Nintendo as well. With I remember when Nintendo was all the rage, and to get a Nintendo game, you got to pay like $50 to $70 to get a Nintendo game, and then all of a sudden, within like the mid '90s, I guess around the same time when the Super Nintendo came out, you can go into like a Walmart or a Kmart or somewhere, and they'd have a big bin full of Nintendo games for like $9. I mean, a lot of them were used, but I didn't care. I just wanted the game. I didn't care about the fact that it was used. It's like, whatever. I just want to play the game. So I got a bunch of those. Like, you know, you take a chance. Like, I remember I even grabbed Spy Hunter for like $9. And, what was the other ones? Gilligan's Island I grabbed. It was just whatever. If it sucks, it sucks. I was paying like $10. I didn't care. Bugs Bunny. Oh, there's Bumper Bash. I wonder if I could play it. I guess I don't have the paddle. Obviously, I'm playing on a controller. So I don't know if I can... Yeah, probably not going to work for me. This is odd. Yeah, I don't think this is going to work on the ROM. I remember buying Ninja Gaiden 2 for $60 because it said hard to beat, and then I beat it that night. Well, that must have been annoying. I think I did that on a couple of games. Oh yeah, you need both buttons. Yeah, see, that was the problem. Checkers. Let's play. BBall? No, I don't want to play Miner 2049. That game's so slow. Princess Rescue. This one I always like. Still don't have the actual cartridge for this one. Don't come across it too often. But I'm still quite impressed by this game, being on the 2600 like this. Again, another one of those titles I got used to on the Commodore 64. Had no idea it started on the Atari. Or was, you know, at least even on the Atari. It's a great game on a lot of systems, actually. I gotta get past the spider dude. It's another one of these games where you really, memory comes into play, like once you map out the levels. Only problem is once you do complete the game, there's not a lot more you can do. There's no scoring in this, you know. Ouch. But quite impressive for what it is. I was playing this, I was playing this a lot on my Atari Flashback portable, which is still missing, and I have no idea where the heck it is. Kind of annoying, because to buy a new one, you have to buy the Flashback, the second one, and it's even more expensive than the original one that I think I paid $40-something for the original Flashback portable. And the second one, I keep seeing it in the stores, but it's like $70. I'm like, what the hell? Keep landing on that snake. Okay, the sword came in handy there. Where do I gotta go? At one point I did know all these levels and the perfect pathway to take. Now I've kind of forgotten it all. Because if you go the wrong way, you end up using up the keys and stuff, and then... Yeah, I think I'm screwed. EGN reviewed. I rented it and kept it for 2 months because, well, I was a kid. Oh, jeez. Ended up costing my parent almost $300. That's hilarious. Meanwhile, you probably could have bought it for 50. Yeah, I remember back when Super Mario Bros. 3 first came out, and obviously I couldn't just run out and buy it. I was just a little kid, and I couldn't just be like, yeah, buy it for me. My parents would have been like, no. Or maybe Christmas time or something like that, so naturally the thing to do was to rent it, but because it was new, the rental store that I had only had like one copy of it, and so you had to like put your name on the waiting list. And then when I actually got my chance to rent it, I remember I came home and my father was like, oh, we're going to your grandmother's house, and I freaked. I was like, no, I just bought this game. Oh crap, I forgot to get the or I just rented this game and I want to play it, and he got so mad at me because I didn't want to go to my grandmother's house. I wanted to stay home and play Super Mario Bros. 3. So then the next day, and at that time, this was just a local video store. This wasn't like, you know, Blockbuster or anything like that. It was just like a local video store, and the other thing is that the person that worked there was a family friend. And so the next day I was supposed to return it, but I didn't want to return it. I wanted to play, so I stayed home playing it, and of course she ended up phoning me up being like, you're supposed to return the game, and I think I was giving her a hard time. I was like, you know, I wanted to keep it for an extra day, and yeah, that didn't go very well. I think after that I ended up renting it again and just playing it for like 12 hours straight with my friends to try and beat it. And then eventually I was able to buy my own copy, so then I played the heck out of Super Mario Bros. 3 at that point. Yeah, I don't know. Renting video games was fun, though. I mean, because you'd go there and you'd be like, I want to play a new game, and you'd look at all the different boxes, and you'd kind of, I guess the same as when you want to rent a movie, right? You'd look at the box, and you'd be like, does this look good? Does this look like crap? And you just take a chance on some of them, just take it home, put it in, and start playing it. It might be good, it might be a pile of crap. You play it anyways. You're like, I rented this, so I'm going to play it. And then you eventually give it back. And then what was cool was after a while, they, you know, when the newer stuff would come in, the newer systems and all that would come in, a lot of them would end up in the bargain bin that you can actually just buy them. Like, I bought a bunch of, like, even PlayStation 2 games I was buying for dirt cheap at the rental stores because they were already old, and you know, PlayStation was old at that point, or getting on, and so you'd pay like $12 to $14 for a PlayStation 2 game instead of its original, you know, $50 price tag. Or picked up some pretty interesting titles like The Simpsons and Family Guy on the PlayStation 2. I kind of miss the rental stores. I mean, after a while, I was not renting anymore. I usually just went in there to buy stuff. Like, I wasn't renting anything. Hey, Green Lantern's back. He must have just got home from work. Okay, we gotta avoid the spider. I think I have to go up this way and go all the way to the left. And then up. Oh, jeez, I did it again. Ah! Thought the timing was gonna good thing about things like rental stores was that was usually where you found like the crazy older movies that were like, you know, those, what do they call it, like B-movie flicks and all that stuff. Weird movies that you would never find for sale. You'd always seem to find them in the rental stores. Or even just some of the older movies that just were no longer for sale. So I'm finding nowadays it's really tricky to find like old movies and old music. At least where I am anyways, it's not easy. Like you go into record stores and all that, there's not a lot of them around. We used to have one called HMB and they're gone now. So there's like another store called Sunrise Records. And I go in there and like there isn't a whole lot of selection. Most of what they're selling now is just like mugs and toys and things like that. They don't sell a lot of movies and music. It's easy. It's getting hard to find like if I want to find like a classic album or something, they're not always gonna have it. Which then I have to like go into Amazon or something. Or I remember trying to find a Slayer album, and I went into like a bunch of different like stores in different malls trying to find this one Slayer album, and I couldn't find it. I still haven't found it. I mean, I can buy it online if I really want to. You know, pay for it online, have it shipped down here. I'm like, why can't I just go into a record store and buy a Slayer album? Like, they had all the other ones that I already have, so I was just like, oh well, it's just the times, right? And now that some of these stores are starting to sell records again, I don't have a record player, so vinyl. Actually, I don't really have a CD player even. I mean, I listen to CDs in my car. My previous car actually had a tape player and a CD player. My current car does not have a tape player, so I can't play my tapes anymore. You know, the old school audio tapes. Got a lot of old tapes still kicking around. I can't play them because I don't have a tape player. Got a CD player in my car, so I still have, you know, some of my old CDs that I can listen to. Talking about spending too much. Bad game, I was one. The unfortunate ones that purchased Superman 64. Oh, that's good. They just put it out the night, and it was $70, of course. I heard stories of that. People spending a lot of money on Superman 64. And getting really pissed off on how terrible the game was. I think it was just like bad design, wasn't it? Like, I've never played it. I don't have it, so. But I've seen like the Angry Video Game Nerd playing it, and I've seen other people doing reviews on it, and it looks terrible. I think I'd rather play Superman on the Atari 2600. Oh jeez, I just fell through the floor. Yeah, well, I think a lot of the games back then, they tried to be a little bit too ambitious with the 3D effects, and I think that's probably what happened with Superman. I mean, if you're going to have a game that's loaded with the 3D effects, you almost have to, like, spend time to make sure that the game and the story and all that actually are great game. It's like, actually, you know, goes with the effects. You don't want to just try and spend too much effort trying to make the game look, you know, all three-dimensional and whatever they tried to do with it. Because, like, from what I remember of it, just seeing videos of it, your Superman flying through these rings and all that stuff. So I think they really just tried to spend too much time on the graphics. And they said, you know, who cares how the gameplay is? Let's just make the graphics really cool. And, you know, ah, and, you know, playing old video games is why, you know, people are like, who cares that the graphics were, you know, not the greatest. I mean, look at this game. This game's really fun, but the graphics are blocky as hell. But that doesn't matter because the game is fun. I'll take a fun game with blocky graphics way more than a expensive game, you know, three-dimensional game. Crap, I missed a key somewhere. That ain't not good. Okay. Uh-oh, skull. Where's the key? Ah, crud. I'm still waiting on a good Superman game. Yeah, that might not happen. I mean, even the Atari 2600 is kind of lousy. Ah. Ran into a laser wall. Maybe I was supposed to go down here? See, that's the thing, I haven't played this in a while. I kind of forgot where everything was. Oh jeez, I just jumped into the lava. And the snake. Okay, that's a dead end. Where did I forget to go? Ah, nuts. Well, that was fun. Anyways, I should probably pack it in it now, because I've been playing for a little while now, and it's getting late for me, and who knows if I'm even going to work tomorrow. We're getting a pretty sick snowstorm tomorrow, so they're bracing for bad weather. That's what gave PlayStation the advantage when it came out. Bad graphic, but great games. Well, yeah, I mean, that was on the cusp of, you know, let's start doing everything three-dimensional, like Tomb Raider and stuff, and I still think they were trying to figure things out. Even the Nintendo 64, for that matter, was trying to figure things out, trying to make the graphics and all that crap. Anyways, I'm going to be heading out now for the night. Thanks everybody for joining, coming in. I know Green Lantern just dropped in. He tends to miss a lot of my streams, but today he actually made it. And glad everybody could come in. Hey, Arena Foot. Oh, you just came in at the last second. Yeah, I'm just packing in. Ah, jeez. Just missed it. That's okay, there's always the replay. I'll probably try and do some more live streaming anyways. You know, I still have a bunch of other things I want to do. I want to try and maybe do some Sega Genesis stuff, and maybe do another Nintendo one. I'll just try and change it up a bit. I also have some like Commodore 64 and VIC-20 and all the other kind of fun stuff. So, yeah, let's just do that. And maybe even do some more live streaming where I actually have a topic to actually talk about. But thanks for coming in, and sorry, Arena Foot, that you didn't make it. But maybe next time when... I don't know when I'll be doing my next live stream, but I definitely have a bunch of videos coming out soon. I'm going to be putting out another video tomorrow, and maybe on Wednesday. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe tomorrow, if I'm home, I can do another live stream, because I'll probably be home. Anyways, thanks for coming in. Oh yeah, homebrew. Yes, I'm going to be doing more homebrew stuff. Don't worry about that. There's going to be a lot of homebrew stuff. Anyways, thanks for coming in, and hope everybody has a good rest of their day or night or whatever time it is at your time of the world. I know there's a lot of different time zones going on here. And take care.